Today's video is going to be the first installment of a brand new series here at Survival on Purpose on urban survival, which may mean different things to different people, and we're going to talk about that briefly in this video. But the main focus of this video is going to be why I think having a get home bag is way more important than having a bug out bag. And I'm going to show you my 20-pound get home bag with some examples of things you might want to consider putting in yours. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. And as I said, this is going to be the first video in a new series here on what I'm calling urban survival, and that may mean different things to different people, and we'll talk about that as we go along. And let me just address the elephant in the room, so to speak, right now. If you think that I'm just being overly paranoid and there's no need to prepare for all this stuff and good grief, what am I? Then you know what? You do you, okay? But my focus on this is, I think that if you've watched anything on the news or paid attention to current events lately, you know that at least in major urban areas, man, like riots and protests are subject to break out at the drop of a hat. Who knows what's going to happen? It could happen at any minute. Depending upon where you live, you might have weather issues, you might have earthquakes, you might have tornadoes, fires. There's just no telling what could happen. So I think that is very important to have a plan, right? And that's why I said at the beginning of this video that I think it's way more important to have a get home bag than it is to have a bug out bag, because I think most of us are much more likely to have a situation that we might need to kind of get ourselves home than we are, and we'll have to put everything we're going to need for the rest of our life in a backpack and hit the road. So, having said all that, rambling all that, let's talk about a couple things about a get home bag in general. First of all, what I'm going to show you today is one example of what some things you might want to consider in your get home bag. There's going to be some things in here that I think are pretty much, you need to have some form of this in there, and some of them are going to be optional. And again, that's going to depend on the situation you're in. That's going to depend on the location you're in. That's going to depend on the weather, and it's going to depend on your fitness level, really. Because, so for example, I live in the Atlanta area. I live about 20 miles west of Atlanta, but very often I'm working 60 miles from home. So I think a good average pace you might can count on if you're in reasonable shape is 3 miles per hour if you're walking. So if you had to abandon your vehicle and hit the road and try to get home, I don't think you're going to do much more than 3 miles an hour, and that might be optimistic. So at 20 miles, then that's going to take me 7 hours to get home. So at, you know, if I'm 30 miles away, it's going to take me 10 hours to get home. So, and obviously the longer you're walking, probably the slower you're going to get. So you got to think about that. If I'm 60 miles away and I had to walk home because of some sort of really big, huge disaster that, you know, everything was shut down for days, then it might take me 3 days to get home. So I want to make sure I can survive for 3 days. And I think 72 hours is a good rule of thumb. Anyway, so there's that. And as I think about these things, if they pop into my head as we're going along and talking about this bag, I'll bring them up. So let's talk about the bag itself first of all. I think you want a really good, solid, heavy-duty bag. If it's going to be something that you're basically trusting your life to, then you don't want something that's going to fall apart within 10 miles or you know, fall apart half the way on you. You want something that's going to be good and solid. So for this project, I have chosen a Vanquest bag. This is part of their urban series, so it doesn't look all tactical. It's going to kind of blend in. You're not going to stick out like a sore thumb. It's the Addax 25, so it's the larger of their urban series backpacks. As you can see, it's not at all threatening looking. Not a bunch of molly webbing on it or patches and stuff like that. This particular bag has been to the beach with me 3 or 4 times. It's been to a show or so. It's been loaded down pretty solidly several times, and it's none the worse for wear. You know, Vanquest makes really good stuff. If you've seen stuff on the channel, you know I've got Vanquest bags literally that I've been using daily for 7 years. So anyway, it's the Addax 25, and not a bunch of extra pockets on it. It's just non-tactical looking. That's what I'm looking for. So basically, if I'm in a potentially dangerous or potentially volatile situation, I don't want to stick out. I want to be able to blend in, gray man, whatever you want to call it. So I think this does a good job of that. So let's just talk about what we got in here. And by the way, if you're a follower of the Canterbury guys, I've got all the 10 C's except one. And so see if you can figure out in the, tell me in the description below and in the comments below which one I don't have. So I think what I'm going to do is just start opening this thing up, and I'll just show you what's in here, and we'll talk about it as we go. So first of all, up here on top, where I can get to it pretty handily, I've got right off the bat, I got a tourniquet. This is a cat tourniquet because if things are really rough and crazy, somebody might be bleeding, you might be bleeding, you might have a serious injury. Tourniquet can save your life. I mean, this is a #1 life-saving thing I believe in carrying. So I've got that. I've also got in the top of the main packet, I've got a whole trauma kit, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But it's also right in the top. I'll pop the zipper off, I can get to it. Speaking of zippers, let me just tell you one more thing while we're here. So I've got this bag staged. So you can notice I've got the zipper here on the corner. There's a double zipper. I got one on this corner, I got the other one on this middle on this side, and the other one on this corner. So they're staggered, so I know which one I'm grabbing. But that way, I can grab it, pull it, and it's open. Because if I put them in the middle, then I got to grab both of them to open it, to get it all the way open. So put them in the corners, I can grab one, and it's open enough for me to get whatever I need to out of there. So I just think that's a little tip, but it's helpful. So anyway, got a tourniquet in here. I've got another watch in here. This is a digital watch, and it's got a little watch band compass. I got this just because this one, I would probably put it in my pack and put this cheaper watch on, so I don't look all flashy. I want to blend in. So got that there. I've got something optional here. We'll talk about this in just a minute. I got a map. This is a Georgia map. I think it would probably be better to find a map, a more detailed map of the area you're in. This has an Atlanta map on it, but the Atlanta map is only about that big, right? That's the Atlanta map, and doesn't go all the way to my house. But once I get to the edge of this map, I know all the roads. I know how to get where I'm going. So there's that. You should know your area anyway. And then I've got in here, I also got just some hand sanitizer. This was actually from my son's wedding, but it's a little giveaway we had. This is not only good for keeping your hands sanitary, it's also a good fire extender. There's that. And then let's see, I've got in here, Baofeng radio. This is a UV5RA, nothing fancy. It is charged, and if somebody at home has this radio, we could be on the same frequency and maybe talk to each other. It really depends. This thing is not going to range 20-30 miles unless you get really crazy conditions, or maybe you can hit a repeater. But that's just something I've got in there. Just maybe I could call for help if I needed to. Got that, and it's charged. And I've got an extra charged battery for the radio in here. And it's just to show you, this thing has got like a high-vis interior. I've got a Velcro zip thing here and a zip pocket here that you can see through. And up behind the Velcro, I've got another little compass, and it's clipped onto the key keeper. It's just a little ball compass, but it's actually pretty accurate. I checked this thing out against my other compasses, and it works. So it's, you know, if you're in an urban environment, there's a bunch of buildings around, sometimes it's really hard to tell which way is north. You might not even can see the sun if it's there. So it's good to have a compass. I think that's one of the 10 C's, hint, hint. Then I've got a headlamp. This is the UCO Air, and I like this one because it's really simple to use, and it's also USB rechargeable. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then I've also got a flashlight. This is an Olight M2R, really bright, super bright spot flashlight. So the headlamp's for like normal use here when I'm walking, trying to see what I'm doing. But if I need to look into a dark spot or check pretty far ahead to see what's going on, this will get the job done. It's very bright. So there's that. We'll just leave them out of here. And then finally, in the front little zip pocket here, I have got just a Write in the Rain notepad, and this is actually one of the Bastion bolt action pens. It's a titanium one, but they write really good, so I've got it there. And it's also, if needed be, you could break glass with this thing, or use it probably for a impact weapon, just in case. So it's a multi-use item. So there's that. I've also got just a thin pack of duct tape. This is 15 feet of duct tape, 5 yards. So it takes up a lot less room than a roll, but 15 feet is pretty good. You can use this for a lot of things, for repairs or for flame extender or anything else like that. And then I've just got some chapstick, because this would be good for not just for your lips, but also for you know, if you got a cut or something on your hand. It's also, again, another flame extender, because you know I like me some fire. And then I just got some hard candy here, just something to suck on, you know, while I'm walking or hiking, having to walk, just to keep kind of, you know, just because I like it. Just keep your mind off of what you're doing. So that's everything in the top pouch. Going down to the bottom pouch, this is something else I think really be really good to have, important to have, is a pair of leather gloves. These are the Wells Lamont Hydra Hide, and I reviewed these things like, man, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and they're still going strong. I like the leather gloves. I've got some of the mechanics, like other, you know, tactical style gloves. I like leather gloves just because you don't know what you're going to have to do or where you're going to have to go if you're trying to hoof it home from the middle of nowhere. I've also got in here this really cool prepared for emergency poncho. It is a combination of poncho and space blanket. So the inside of this thing is lined with like a space blanket, thermo aluminum kind of stuff, and the Mylar. Mylar is the word I'm looking for. Fits in this little packet, so it'll keep you both dry and can help you stay warm, because even in the summertime, if it's raining, you're getting wet, you know, you could get hypothermia. Going on down there, I just got a little bag of snacks. I got some nuts in here and a couple of energy bars and some you know, meat sticks and stuff like that. Just give me some energy so I can get back home. I'm not too concerned about starving to death or anything in a couple, 3 days. That's not my primary function. I don't have a stove or anything. I'm not planning on stopping cooking meals. It's just stuff that I can eat and have some calories. So, but I am going to be concerned about water, and water is something I'm definitely concerned about. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. I've got some cordage. I think that's another one of the C's, because, and this is just some little I think it's like number 18 bank line. Lightweight, very strong, and you use this for a lot, and who knows what you'll have to use cordage for. It's always good to have. I got 4 little zip straps, tie straps, because if just in case I tear something up or I need to hook something to my pack, I can do that. There's that. And then what else we got down here? All right, so I have a non-lethal weapon, baton, just in case, you know, dogs or whatever, might have to defend myself and don't want to use a firearm, you know, unless you absolutely have to. So got that, and this one's a strayed one. I don't know, just a little cheap baton, just a collapsible stick's what it is. And again, I know may not be legal in your area. Let's see, I've got some fire. I've got the I'm probably not going to build a fire to cook, but it's possible that I might have to find myself a little spot of trees or woods and build a fire to get warm, or maybe even to purify some water. I don't think so, but you know me and fire. I got to have me some fire. So I've got the Fire Rod XL, which has got a ferro rod and a waterproof container with some tinder tabs in it, some fire starters, and even a little bit of duct tape on the outside of it. And the cordage here is fire cord, so it's got a little fire starter in there too. So I got some fire there, because you know me, right? What else have I got here? Something I think is indispensable in a get-home bag is a multi-tool. This is the Leatherman 300, tried and true oldie but goodie. What else have I got in here? Oh, I've got a extra magazine for my Glock 19 in my Hog Holsters extra magazine carrier with an ulti-clip on it, so it clips right on the little pocket in here. And again, this has got the high-vis, you see that high-vis interior there, the orange, and you can see what's in here really well. It clips on there, so I can just pull the mag out if I need it. There's that. I hope I don't need it. I've already got another one on my waist here, and the Glock 19 here. Again, you know, you may not be able to do that, or you may not want to do that, but anyway. And then finally, in the front pocket, I've got this little deal here, and this is called a Silcock key. And basically, if you're familiar with a lot of commercial hose bibs, and I'm a plumber, I put them in all the time. They're either recessed in the wall, or they're even, some of them stick out, but they don't have handles on them because they don't want people stealing and messing with their water. So you have to have one of these keys to turn them on. If you're in a situation where you're trying to get home and you need some water, then this could get you some water out of a faucet that you might not otherwise be able to access. They're like 10 bucks at Home Depot, not a big deal. So there's that. And that is everything in the front or lower pocket. So let's go to the main pocket now. And as I said, I've got the trauma kit. This is the tactical response VOK, or ventilated operator kit, and I added a couple things to this, and so we'll take a look at this in just a minute. I want to go ahead and show you what else is in here. So this is something that's optional. This is just a little windbreaker that fits in this bag, and this one actually has hollow sleeves and stuff. You can stuff leaves or newspaper or trash or whatever in it to provide insulation. Probably wouldn't need that in the summer, but might be good to have a windbreaker. So there's that, and it just fits right in here. I think a Frog Togs would be another good option, a Frog Togs jacket. I've got one of those somewhere. Speaking of protection, I've got a big, gigantic 55-gallon garbage bag. And you know, for wilderness survival, you might want a big orange one so people can see you. I think for me, in a get-home situation, I think you're looking to be as unobtrusive as possible. So this is a big one. You could cut a hole in it and make yourself a poncho. If you didn't have the other one, you can make a small sleeping shelter, something like that out of this. And it's just doesn't take up much room and doesn't weigh much. It doesn't cost much. Then I have got this little bag here, and you saw that I've got the phone, I've got the flashlights, and I'm going to have my Surefire stiletto in my pocket, and that they're all rechargeable USB. So I've got a power bank here, Anchor power bank, and this is a big one. You can carry a smaller one. This one weighs something. It adds a little weight. It probably weighs about a pound, but it gives me the ability to charge more than one thing at a time, and also to charge multiple things more times. And I've got a couple, my cords for my phone and the flashlights and stuff in there, so I can keep my phone charged and the flashlights. And if we have cell service. So speaking of water, we got the Silcock key here. I've got a bottle of water. It's a clean canteen, just a stainless steel single wall bottle, because I like that. That way, if you had to boil some water, you can. So that's not going to last you for 2 days or 3 days. It might, but you're going to be thirsty. So went on and brought the Grail water purifier, and I think it's really important, if possible, to use a purifier and not just a filter in an urban environment, because this gets out more chemicals and kind of industrial kind of stuff than just a filter would, and viruses. So you can put dirtier water in here and still make it safe to drink, basically. So there's that. And then finally, you've probably been missing something, hadn't you? I mean, we looked at the multi-tool, but you know that ain't the only knife I'm going to have, right? So for this project, I selected the Ultimate Survival Tips MSK1. A couple reasons. First, because I like it. It's a big old honking knife. It can do a lot of stuff. And it's got a mini survival kit in the handle as well. I also have another little kit here, and I've got just a pack of these Yuko Sweet Fire starters in it as well, because I like me some fire and I like me some knives, and it's got this little sidekick knife with it too. But again, this is just examples. You do you. And then finally, up here, because you saw the ferro rod, but again, you know me, I've got the Exotac Titan Light, which is like a peanut lighter on steroids. And I've also got just a clipper butane lighter, because I like these clippers. Clippers or Bic, either one I think are really great choices. But wait, there's more. I've got in here, and again, for summertime, this may not be necessary, but I got this hat. This is the Cash Beanie from Wazoo Survival, but just something that's a little warmer. Certainly you need a hat to keep the sun off your head, but depending on your location where you're at, if it gets cold at night, you might want something a little warmer. But this is the hat that I would choose, just something plain and unobtrusive looking. And then finally, I've got in here a shemagh. I would either go with a shemagh or a cotton bandana. I like the shemagh because it's a little bigger, gives you, got more cotton to deal with. You can also use it kind of to put over your head to keep cool, to keep the sun off around you. You can put it around your neck, whatever, if you're getting sun out there. So a lot of uses for something like that. And just to show you, I left the back of this thing open, because if you're at your work and you have to bail out and you don't know what's going on, you might have your laptop with you, you need to get it, you don't want to leave it in your car, you don't leave it at work, even after all this was in there, there's still room for a laptop, a full-size 15-inch laptop, maybe even a 17-inch laptop, I think. But that's just something to consider. So let me talk about the trauma kit real quickly, and then I'll talk about a couple of, I said there was a couple of optional things in here. We'll talk about those, and we'll wrap this sucker up because I know it's getting long. So first of all, I added this to the trauma kit. This is just some ibuprofen. I added this mask, and let's talk about this mask for a minute, okay? Whatever you think of the mask situation, pro or con, I'm not getting into all that with you. But 2 reasons to have a mask. One of them, because you might be in a situation where you need a mask. There might be dust or debris, or you might, you know, there's airborne dust, airborne something that you need to protect your lungs and your throat from. The second reason is, especially in today's society, if you want to blend in, it's a good way to do it, because if in a lot of urban areas that I've been in, if you're not wearing a mask, you are the exception, and you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. So it's good urban camouflage. I also added some Band-Aids, just because, you know, you might have a boo-boo. That's the ventilated operator kit, and I've loaded this sucker down. It's hard to get back closed now, but if you don't choose this one, that's fine. I really recommend some sort of trauma kit for serious life-threatening injuries, because survival's about staying alive, right? One more optional item I have in here, which I think could come in handy. It's just a binocular. I got some binoculars, but this takes up less room. This allows you to see into the distance. Maybe you can spot trouble ahead. If you see something going on, maybe you can check it out before you get there to determine if it's really a problem or not. Because again, if you're trying to get home on foot, then there's a reason for that. So, and you want to make sure you're safe. So anyway, that is an example, just an example. You know, you do you of a 20-pound get-home bag. And again, I think a get-home bag is way more important than a bug-out bag. We're going to wrap this one up. I hope this has been helpful. Here's what I would ask you to do. In the comment section below, first of all, I think I got all the 10 C's but one. Let me know if you can tell me which one's missing. And also, I really would love to hear your suggestions about, you know, what maybe I could have put in here that I should have, or maybe some stuff you don't think I need, or just your ideas on it, because I always learn, and so does everybody else that reads the comments. We learn from each other. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. I really appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. I really sincerely appreciate your support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.